I'm reading a small piece I wrote recently called The Complex. What the fuck were we thinking? But it was already September. It had been 95 degrees every day. The air was so thick with humidity and industrial grime, I thought I was going to drown in it if I didn't choke to death first. We'd been driving all around town in my car with a busted AC. We'd been looking for 3 months. The apartment was cheap. It was on the top floor. No upstairs neighbors. It had a balcony. Granted, the vista was a smog-choked view of the expressway. It didn't matter. I had an apartment where I could look down on things. And I love looking down on things. Even really ugly things. There was a pool in the middle of the complex, but best of all, there were Coke machines, snack machines, laundry rooms. I wouldn't have to get into my crappy, unair-conditioned car for weeks, save for the occasional odd job, which is why we were living in this shithole in the first place, so we could have odd jobs rather than real ones. And this business of over-tanned, skeevy, bat-faced men getting loaded in the parking lot, smoking pot and drinking beer while sitting on their pickup tailgates, occasionally giving me a look like they might one night on a methamphetamine binge, butcher, and then grill me on one of the many hibachis on the premises. Or the fact that the entire apartment complex celebrates Halloween with the reverence that most neighborhoods in the suburbs reserve for Christmas and the 4th of July. Crap loads of carved out pumpkins on every step, window, and doorway. Skeletons hanging from balconies like multiple lynchings after a medieval raid. Posters of fire-breathing demons pasted on the dumpster door. Gut-like plastic worms stuck to mailboxes. And that every single kid looks like a chunky or morbidly obese version of the Children of the Corn. Not only eats an overabundance of string cheese, but has already squeezed their hefty, trans fat-laden bodies into hideous and titillatingly inappropriate costumes, half Texas Chainsaw Massacre, half Tila Tequila, and I won't even go into much detail about the sallow-faced teenagers looking like the kids from the river's edge as I walk past them on the stairs with their jaws hung slack like cows, sprawled against the stairwell, leaning on the skateboards they spent the entire afternoon falling off of. I thought I could handle it, but for fuck's sakes. Outside, in the parking lot, I can hear the Monster Mash crackling out of a blown car speaker. There's a code to get into the complex. It's early in the afternoon, and they've locked the gate, as if anyone on the planet would want to break in here or feel any safer being locked in. Someone has draped the keypad with cobwebs out of a spray can. I have to get out of my car. It takes me 10 minutes to claw through, unstick my fingers, kick, scream, yell, curse, and remember my code. When I'm finally able to open the gate, I find the entire fucking complex is wrapped in cobwebs. From the rooftop to the ground floor, they're everywhere. Someone has even webbed the high dive of the pool, which is surprisingly marginally ambitious. I blame the skateboarding horde of teenage boys that live here. Not just because I hate them, but because I hate them most. And because they're staring right at me, standing beside the handiwork with smirks on their gruesome, acne-pocked faces, as I pull my car through the gate as a particularly strong, roping strand of cobweb bends along my dirty windshield. They're slouching just inside the gate, their eyes duly dilated, giving each other high fives for no apparent reason other than it's probably the only physical intimacy they'll allow themselves, other than the occasional drunken circle jerk. I blame them because they're the only ones that have the time, energy, and the necessary truancy to be able to pull off something like this. Because last week, I may have accidentally, on purpose, hit one of them with my car door. Because a spray can isn't exactly a foreign object to them. Because their frontal lobes are not fully developed. Because they don't have impulse control or good judgment. Because like most teenage boys, they're assholes. Because this week, not only was I subjected to the entire complex's Halloween hysteria that renders everything icky, black, orange, and rusty, but also to a daily dose of teenage skater boys and their blackened butt cracks as they try with their thin, unathletic bodies to do some trick they saw in a Tony Hawk video game they probably stole from some sweet, trusting fat kid who knows the entire score to Maine. Which makes me think they're capable of anything. Not surprisingly, the cobwebs are especially thick along the outdoor hallway to my apartment. I need a Skype to get through them. I encounter each with exasperation and muttered nonsensical curses, because after a shitty odd job of delivering pizzas for 8 hours yesterday, bringing home a whopping $30 for my troubles, I'm too tired to think of sensible ones. Sorry. The cobwebs rub against my face like clawing feral kittens, toxic and oddly fragrant. I turn a corner and I manage to scare a woman pushing a cart filled with aluminum cans half to death while taking down a handful of cobwebs along with a couple rusty wind chimes. She looks at me and tells me I'm crazy. I tell her I'm not the one that's pushing a cart filled with aluminum cans wearing a nightgown at 1:30 in the afternoon. I finally get to my door. A rush of relief hits me. I know it's just a door, but to me it's more than a door. It's an oasis in a desert of tackiness, stupidity, and unbridled inbreeding. It's beautiful. It's unadorned. It's steel. It's brown. It's not even brown. It's not even a color. It is miraculously bland. There are no monsters, no ghosts, no fucking candy corn glued onto it or left beside it in baskets for stray cats to choke on, which is the only way to get rid of candy corn and the worst way to euthanize stray cats. No posters of pockmarked lunar landscape-faced lunatics wearing coats cobbled together with the dead flesh of young, nubile teenage girls that are entirely too old to be spending their summers in camp. No pumpkins or jaggedly cut jack-o'-lanterns that look like they were carved heatedly under duress with a butcher knife. It is plain, strong, and neutral, just like any other door in any other part of the city during any other season. It's my door. It's my refuge. What kind of motherfucker don't celebrate Halloween? Some slurring random drunk asshole that's got a face like a distressed leather jacket acid. Sitting with his dirty knees pulled up against his chest, scrunched on the stairs, drinking something out of a paper bag. My kind of motherfucker, I mutter.